Hello YouTube, welcome to Big Smoke BBQ. My name is Ashley Tunley and I am the owner of Big Smoke BBQ. A while ago I did a video, it was my first video on the channel really, and that was a video on how I run a Texas style barbecue pop-up business in the UK. It was a very long-winded video and I've had a good response from it, but I feel like I can really do a bit more justice for myself as well as also for what I'm trying to bring across. I'm hoping that I can actually do a better job of it now. Sometimes passed since then. So I'm going to do almost a rerun of it and do like a mini series of videos. So I've got a little bit of a plan in front of me here of what I'd like to talk about in this video. And instead of me doing it on like a slideshow, which they're incredibly boring, right? I mean, no one wants to watch slideshows unless you're in a university lecture or doing some unbelievably boring training day at work, right? So I thought I'd do a face-to-face video. Maybe that might be a little bit easier and you can resonate with me maybe a bit more than just behind the screen. And to be quite honest, I would find that a lot easier than doing loads of editing of different videos and stuff. And I just don't have enough content right now to go through it and do an in-depth video on me actually showing you things on a video. I've taken little clips for Instagram, reels and stuff, but as you may know, when you do a YouTube video, it has to be horizontal, it can't be vertical, otherwise you lose the way it's going to upload and it just doesn't work very well. Same with reels, the other way around, you do portrait for reels and landscape for YouTube videos. Otherwise, when you upload a reel and it's a landscape, you miss both parts of the screen, top and bottom. Learned that the hard way when I spent ages trying to do videos and realized that they were no good. So in this series, I'm going to be going through everything I know so far from running this business for 2 years almost now, in terms of how we started, the journey we've been on, and also where we are now. So some people have asked me things like, one of the most common questions I get is about the home inspection of us starting this business from home and how that all went about and how that came about and how that sort of thing went and how we managed to get our 5-star rating. So I will go into that in this video, or if not this video, into the other videos in the series. But for now, I'm going to introduce how we got started, go from there through the events we did and where we are right now. But before I do that, I want to jump in with a little bit of knowledge. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you now that hasn't really been talked about in the barbecue world. And I think that's where my value might come in for this channel, is that I might be able to give you a bit of an insight into the business side of things and also mindset, sort of goal setting and building a business rather than just focusing on the food, because obviously that's the most important part, is the food. However, if you're going to run a business doing it, if you're going to do pop-ups, if you're going to try and get a brick and mortar place, if you're going to do any of those types of things and sell your food to the public, you need to view it from a different point of view of just cooking food, right? And that's something that I feel just isn't really shown and talked about enough. So this probably isn't going to be very exciting. You know, you're not going to see me cooking food and stuff like that, but I feel like this is going to be one of those videos that you're going to want to take a notepad and write stuff down, because you're probably going to learn a thing or two and it might help you make that decision to go for it, or decide that actually, do you know what, this isn't for me and I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to start a business. So back in 2021, I decided to make an Instagram page called Big Smoke BBQ UK. Looking back on it, probably not that happy with the name of the business, I would be honest. I mean, I've never really told anybody that, but it was just decided on a whim. I just decided to make this account to showcase the things I was cooking outside in the back garden, cooking on my little offset. And I didn't know what to call the channels, the page, so I just decided to call it Big Smoke BBQ. Big Smoke being London. I'm not in London. In fact, I don't actually live in London or anywhere near it. But when people think of UK, they think of London. Big Smoke is the nickname of London. Smoke being Smoke BBQ, I thought that was like a cool play on words. And because we're in the UK, I thought it would showcase that we aren't a American-based barbecue pop-up or restaurant or whatever. Big Smoke BBQ, I think it rolls off the tongue quite cool. but really I probably would have come up with a cooler name if I had have at the time planned on actually turning it into a real business. But anyway, so started the page, decided to showcase what I was cooking on Instagram, and from there just did some little parties and barbecues for people, just friends, family and friends of friends, and then held a Jubilee party when the Queen had a Jubilee in 2022. It was a weird bank holiday situation, so I decided to do a barbecue for my friends and family again. And at that point, after cooking for quite some time, I decided that I was going to do a business, I think. I just wanted to hear some feedback from people to see if they thought that was a good idea also, but I didn't want to tell them that I was going to run a business or was thinking about it. I wanted them to tell me that the food was so good that I should start a business doing it. And that was what happened. People told me that there and then that I really should do something with this because the food's incredible. And that gave me the green light really to go ahead and do it. So I started doing home collections. Shout out to Dave Wilson's Barbecue for his help doing that, but also help setting that up and giving me sort of pointers on how to go about setting it up and who to call and what to do. So we had the health inspectors come around, they had a look around, and then they gave me the go ahead to trade, basically to do what I set out to do. And then they were going to come back and inspect and give me a rating. So from there, we did a home collection business, a home collection takeaway night type thing where people would place their order online and then they would pay for it in advance and they would select their time slot and they would come and pick it up on the days that we were doing these events. This was really good because it allowed us to see how much money we were going to get coming in first before spending money on food and meats and things, to then find we weren't going to sell any of that type of meat, or we weren't going to make a profit. So the orders came in. We didn't get a huge amount of orders, to be honest. For the first 3 or 4 events, it wasn't really worth my time compared to my job. I could have just done some of my work instead and made more money, but it's not about that. We got really positive response and we went from there. We did our very first pop-up event at a pub, a festival. That was actually a disaster, and I'll go into that later on in a different video. I'll explain the events in more depth and go through it actually step by step so that you can take notes and take pointers from that and learn from it, and my mistakes that I've learned from, I can pass them on to you so you don't make the same ones. We did more home collections from there until the end of the year in 2022. Had a little bit of a break with winter, and then we came back, did another pop-up at a pub, which again was a disaster. So 2 in a row, not good, lost quite a lot of money on those. And it wasn't to do with the food, by the way. It wasn't because the food sucked or anyone was unhappy with the food. In fact, it was the opposite. Everyone loved the food, but it was the background stuff that didn't go very well. And that's why I wanted to do these videos, because it's all very well and good cooking amazing barbecue food, but if you don't really have the skills or the knowledge to sell the food and also to run a business, then that's where you're going to lose out, because if you haven't got the customers, it doesn't matter how good the brisket is, right? So fast forward there a couple of months, I spent quite a bit of time actually cold emailing companies, breweries, venues about my business, telling them what I do, looking at doing pop-ups. And that's what it takes. If you want to grow a business, you've got to do that sort of stuff. You've got to do the graft. You have to put the work in. You have to try and get things set up and put in place. So I did that, cold emailed some people, they got back in touch with me, and we organized some pop-ups. The very first one we did was at a cool place where they did a bike night, so loads of bikers meet up there. And we didn't have a gazebo, we didn't really have anything other than a table and my little griddle and a few things. That went really well. We sold out. And from there, we started to just do more events. And with each one, we sold out a bit more. We did an event at a caravan holiday park. We sold out there. We came back again a couple of months later, and we only sold to 10 people. 99% of the people that were there didn't even know we were turning up. They thought it was a private party. They didn't have a clue what was going on. So that was a learning curve for us. That was something to learn. And from there, we did pop-ups at pubs, we did breweries again, we did festivals. And last year was really incredible for us. We really did so well. We sold out at so many pop-ups, and it really grew our business, and we grew our Instagram account, and we grew a bit of a following. Fast forward to 2024, had our first child, so we haven't been doing any events just yet, but we have a home collection coming up in April, and we've all but sold out of every single time slot that there is available for that, which is insane because we've never done that before. We've got more orders than we've ever had for a home collection by 3 times. It's been pretty insane, actually. We've got a whole year now of fully booked events, so I have no more time to book events in for the whole year. So we have 15 events, I think, coming up this year. Pretty busy. In June, we've got 4 events booked in. So our name is growing. We're getting out there. People are really enjoying our food. People are traveling to actually have our food, and yeah, people are really starting to enjoy it. And that's all just came from an idea of me offering barbecue food to the public, and I wanted to sort of elaborate on that a little bit. So I'm pretty sure this hasn't been discussed on a YouTube video where it comes to barbecue. And what I wanted to share with you is the 3 types of goals that there are. So you should probably write this down. There are 3 types of goals. There are A-type goals, B-type goals, and C-type goals. Now, if any of you know me personally, you may not even know this actually, but Bob Proctor, rest in peace, Bob. One of my mentors, really. I used to watch so many of his videos. I've spent hours and hours learning business, learning personal development, and that kind of thing, because I think it's really important to become the best version of yourself that you can. And to understand these concepts and things really helps you when you move through life and make decisions based on your personal or business life. So A-type goals. Now, we all kind of set these goals. They're goals that you know how to achieve already. So it's kind of like you're buying a car or something. You're going to set out to buy a new car, right? That's an A-type goal, because if you've already bought a car before in the past, you already know how to buy a car, right? You've already been able to do that before. So it's kind of like something that isn't really going to get you up out of bed in the morning. It's an A-type goal. It's something that you already know how to do. So cooking a rack of ribs. For me, I know how to cook a rack of ribs now pretty easily. I don't really have to think about it too much. If I were to set out a goal today to cook a rack of ribs, I would be able to do it very easily. It wouldn't really be something for me to achieve. It would more be a sort of tick list rather than a goal. B-type goal is something that you think you can do. So if you've cooked pork shoulders, pulled pork on a barbecue before, and then you decide you're going to cook some ribs, you've watched videos on how to do it, you think you know how to do it, you're pretty confident you will be able to do it. That's a goal, right? You can set that as a goal. I'm going to cook a rack of ribs today. You've never done them before. They might turn out bad. They might turn out quite good. You don't know. But that's a goal that you know how to do. C-type goal is a goal that you don't know how to do, but it's something that you really want to do and inspires you, and it scares you at the same time, right? So our comfort zone is a problem, because everything that's within our comfort zone, our bubble, is what we're used to. It's comfort. It's, as the name says, a comfort zone. Now, I can tell you now that everything that you want in life is outside of that comfort zone. All of your goals, any aspirations you have, any career goals, any personal goals, it's out of your comfort zone. You've got to do something that makes you uncomfortable, because if you do things that you know how to do, those aren't really goals. That's just a to-do list. And for me, 4 years ago, I didn't know how to cook a brisket. I didn't even really know what barbecue brisket was, to be perfectly honest. And now I have a whole year of booked in events. We sell out at almost every single event we do. People really rave about our food. I'm very happy with the quality of the food we put out. And that's all just come from an idea, a goal. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it scares the hell out of me doing pop-ups at times. Like, I turn up to a pop-up with all the food, I see nobody there, and I think, there's no one going to buy it. This is it. This is going to be a disaster. No one's going to buy our food. And then loads of people queue and loads of people turn up and we sell out. Other times there's been pop-ups where I've thought this is a given, you know, I'm going to make loads of money here. And actually it was the other way around. There wasn't as many people as they thought. We've been told a few lies here and there. You know, the amount of people that are going to be there has been fabricated. You know, maybe they've had their ambitions set a bit too high and actually that wasn't the case. And we listened to them a bit too much and didn't work out. But I did not know how to cook barbecue on an offset smoker. There was a time in my life that I had absolutely no clue what an offset smoker was. And that's how I ended up getting into barbecues, because I bought the wrong thing. I was meant to buy just a cheap charcoal grill to cook crappy burgers and sausages on in the garden in the summer, and ended up buying an offset by accident and had to learn how to use this thing on YouTube and become obsessed with barbecue because I knew how amazing the food tasted and I just loved it. So went from there. I mean, I could have easily just said, you know what, I really enjoy this and I'm going to cook this stuff. But I discovered that there was a niche for this. There was a gap in the market. And I really believed that if I could get this right, there's a business opportunity here, because I can fill that void that I feel is needing to be filled. There's not a gap in the market because there's no market for it. I really believe that there was a market for it, and that's true. I think you're now being greeted by two dogs. We've got the other one down there. They're my taste testers. Now, C-type goals. As I said, something that you don't know how to do, but you really want to. And when I had this passion for barbecue, I decided to take this opportunity to start a business and go from there. Now, you may not be that passionate about barbecue. You might just be watching it to understand how I run a business. I don't know. But whatever it is you want to do and you don't know how to, that your passion is revolved around that, I would say you really need to push that, because everything that you want is the other side of that fear. You have to set goals that scare you. I mean, I've gone to pop-ups before. On the way there, I'm literally like so nervous about it, because most pop-ups I do, I'm really nervous about them because we've got a lot of money invested in them, a lot of time. We don't know who's going to turn up. We don't know if we're going to sell out. We don't know how the food's going to taste. We don't know if people are going to like it. We don't know what the weather's going to be like. We don't know who's going to be there. We don't know anything really, other than, I mean, we're confident in the food that we cook. We feel like it's really good. And I'm always happy with the food quality, but you don't know how other people are going to take it. You don't know what they're going to think of the prices. There's so many things, but when I get nervous for an event, that tells me that that's worth doing, because if I found it really easy and comfortable and just didn't really feel pushed, then I know that I wouldn't be pushing myself far enough. I know that I wouldn't be doing enough to make this happen. So quite oftentimes we would accept to do an event without actually really knowing how we're going to do it. So last year we did a 2-day event, something we'd never done before, and I had to figure out what food I was going to sell on both days so that I could make it work. So we did our barbecue menu, our full barbecue menu on the one day, and the next day we did a reduced menu of smash burgers and tacos. Quite an easy way to get around it, but at the time, quite a bit of stress went into that, because I was going to try and do both days with barbecue food. It was just impossible. Can't be two places at once. But the reason I was saying about A, B, and C type goals is, if you are considering doing this as a business and you've got the passion for it and you're a bit scared, that's good, because it means that you're going to do something that pushes you to grow as a person. Now, the other thing is, for me, thinking about how I'm running this business, there are 3 key concepts, and I think you should employ these in your life. You should put these in your repertoire of how you think about things in life and in business. I mean, you might think, who's this guy telling me what to do? This has just worked for me, so if it works for you, great. But there are three key concepts or words that I live by when I think about this business. The first one is patience. Yeah, I know, patience, it sucks. No one wants to wait for what they want. They want it now. And that's the problem, because I could have gone all out. I could have got a restaurant, I could have got a food truck straight away and set up those things and had a big expense to start with, and had to start doing pop-ups all the time to pay for my truck and all that stuff. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to grow this business slowly and organically, so that it would allow me to identify the holes of where things need to be patched, and also what's going well, so that we can focus on that. And I wanted to build a brand. I wanted to build a following and a loyal customer base. And you can only do those things over time. Now, being patient allows you to reduce your overheads quite drastically, I think. Allows you to focus on what's most important, which is the food, the customers, and building that business. The second one is passion. So without passion in this subject, I don't think there would be any point in me doing this as a business. I just don't see that I would enjoy it enough in the future. A lot of people start a business because they think they can make money at it, rather than because they like it or they enjoy it and they want to do it because it's their hobby or it's what they're passionate about. Now, I've never been passionate about barbecuing until 3 years ago, but I really found that I actually really enjoyed it. So thinking of how can I do something I enjoy for a job, or make a business out of what I enjoy? This was the perfect opportunity for me to build something to allow me to do what I enjoy and make money from it. Now, like I said, it's not about the money. So for me, the most important aspect of this whole thing is the food. Because if the food's great, naturally we will get customers. People will turn up to our pop-ups. We will get repeat customers. We will then be able to put a premium price on our product. We will then be able to get repeat bookings at venues because they enjoyed us being there, and the money will come from that. So many people start a food business because they focus on the profit margin of what they can make. So I wouldn't be happy flipping burgers all the time. In fact, I don't really like making or selling burgers because it takes away the barbecue element of what I'm doing. But they are a good money maker. But I would rather spend 12, 14 hours cooking a brisket and make half the money than sell loads of smash burgers and make double the money, because it's not really my passion. Don't get me wrong, I love the reviews people give me on the burgers. They say they're the best I've ever had. But on the flip side of it, haven't spent all this money on smokers and learning how to cook this stuff for me to just flip some smash burgers. Not to negate how important they are, because smash burgers are amazing. It's one of my favorite foods of all time. And I really respect that, but it's just not our focus. Same with anything else, breakfast items. I couldn't sell breakfast from a food truck or something, because I don't really care about that. Like, it's not my passion. I'm not really interested in it. So passion is so important, because it's gonna be the thing that fuels you the most when you start a business and when you come through the difficult times. I can tell you how demoralizing it was when I came back from that pop-up, selling to 10 people, cooking all the food I did, losing hundreds of pounds, coming back to something that was a complete waste of time, unloading the van with all the stuff, cleaning up, doing all the prep, everything was a complete waste of time. But I believed in myself and I believed in the process. And you're going to have these hiccups. These things are going to happen. And if you haven't got the passion for it, you're going to give up, because you're not going to have that fuel to push you through those barriers. That leads me on nicely to the last point, which is accountability. Now, it's easy for me to point fingers and say the pop-ups that haven't gone very well haven't been our fault, which in some ways that is very true. They haven't been our fault. But if I use that and I say that pop-up wasn't our fault, it's their fault, they're the ones that should be to blame, there's no lesson to be learned there. and I will make the same mistake again, because I'm not blaming myself. I'm not looking at how I could have improved the situation or what I could have done to prevent that situation happening. I'm looking at them as being at fault and completely responsible for how well or how bad that pop-up went. So the very first pop-up we did, that was a complete failure. The reason it was a failure was because the pub that we did the pop-up at was holding a festival and they were running their kitchen at the same time. Why we were doing a pop-up there then is beyond me, but they were running their kitchen at the same time, cooking their food. So we were competing with the pop-up place at the same time. We went halves on the food products each, and we were going to take half the profits each. Terrible idea, I know, but I wanted to just reduce my risk and also get the food out to the local community so that when we did another pop-up, they would come to us again. That was my thought process behind that. I would never do that again now. That was a terrible idea, but again, that's me being accountable for it rather than just saying we didn't make any money because of them. They put us in the corner, kind of out the way. People didn't even know we were there at times. And when it started to rain, people didn't go through the entrance we were at. They went actually around the other side, so they definitely didn't see us. We were told there were going to be like 400 people there. There was less than half that amount. And even if we'd have catered for less than half that amount, we would have still had some wastage. But we actually sold quite a lot of food. If I'd have taken what I take to normal pop-ups now, I would have actually probably made money there. I cooked a stupid amount of food. I spent £1,000 on food, which is outrageous. I don't even spend half that at our busiest pop-ups. So, you know, I went completely overboard. I thought there was going to be queues up the road. I thought we were going to be selling food all day, non-stop. Didn't anticipate how the real world actually is and how it is. I mean, nobody knew us. It was our first ever event. I mean, I think I was very naive to it. So that's on me. I should have bought a lot less food. I should have said, you know what, even if there is 400 people come in, that's great. It means we'll sell out quicker. I'm just going to buy a small amount of food and don't worry about splitting it. I'm just going to do that and I'll take the hit. Those things are important. The pop-up where we did 10 people, I should have chased up to make sure that the promotion was going, that people were going to be staying there, that people knew we were doing the pop-ups, or maybe avoiding those types of places. I'm never going to go back to that place again because of the situation that we found ourselves in and the money that we lost. The first time we did it, yeah, we sold out, but the second time was terrible. And I think, although a lot of that is on them, I still think there's lessons to be learnt from my end, and there's things I could do better in the future to prevent these things happening. Unless you have accountability, you will struggle massively to make money in anything you do because it's easy to point fingers. Even if you hire somebody to help you and they don't do a good job, it means you just hired the wrong person. That's what it is. It's not them, it's you. And if you're a business, you have to take the blame, because if you don't take the blame for everything, or for most things, you can't learn from it. You can't grow. You can't make better decisions in the future. So the pop-ups that we have done, I mean, I made the same mistake twice, really, because I did that pop-up at the pub the second time and it failed. Not because of the food. The food was amazing, but we bought too much food again. And that was because I was too scared of running out when people had booked tables for 3 hours down the road. I didn't want to run out of something. Now, in a restaurant, that's not always too bad, because if you buy loads of steak, for example, and you only sell 12 of that steak rather than 20 that you've ordered, the next day when you do the steak, you'll just sell the ones that you didn't sell the day before first, and you'll order less for the next day. We can't do that because we don't run a restaurant. So taking over the restaurant kitchen as we did, we kind of had to buy stock, and then we were left with a lot of stock. The places that I got the meat from didn't check the order properly. We actually got a lot more than we actually asked for, which we had to pay for, and didn't realise that we got too much of that thing until we got it home, and then realised we got like 3 times the amount of pulled pork that we should have actually had. Miscommunication there, that type of thing. So all these things are things that I've learned from, that I don't make mistakes of again. Like I've learned from my mistakes. I've been really accountable for it, and I've really taken that on, so I won't do it again. If I were to blame the butcher or the pub or the people running it and all these things and never blame myself for anything, I would just keep making that mistake again because I wouldn't have the mindset to learn from it. I know this is a lot, it's probably overload of information, and you probably think, how is that really relevant to barbecue? But I think it's relevant to barbecue and anything else, especially if you're considering running a business. You really need to hone in on the difficult things to learn from. You can watch a million brisket trim videos, you can watch a million videos on how to trim beef ribs or pork ribs, or how to cook a brisket from start to finish, how to manage a fire, all that stuff. But if you don't know how to take that to the business world and actually grow a business and start a business, then I think it doesn't really matter how good the food is, right? So if you're an author and you've just written the best novel of all time, but no one knows who you are, and you give the book away and it costs you £10,000 and then you never make any money, that's a terrible outcome. You haven't actually, nothing's been beneficial to you there, other than you've lost a ton of money. New York Times bestsellers aren't the best authors in the world. They just have the best selling books. That's something to think of. Now, not saying that you should practice not making great barbecue but running a great business. You should absolutely focus on making great barbecue, because then I think the customers will come along over time. But you have to be patient. So I still run a pop-up. I've got a little gazebo. I don't have a food truck. I don't have a restaurant. And I want it to be kept that way for a while because I don't have the overheads. I don't have the risk. I run a very calm business. I don't have to bust my ass doing things to make ends meet. I don't have to do that. So I'm running a very patient business. I'm trying to build up organic customers, a brand. I'm trying to build a brand over time. And I think these things are so important when you're thinking of running a business, because so many food businesses fail, so many businesses fail in general, and I think it's because they go all out so quick. They try and do it because generally we're doing these things to show other people that we can do it, right? So I don't care if people watch this and laugh at me. I don't care if people from outside looking in. I don't care if the local people that don't like me, which isn't many, I hope. I mean, I know there's a very, very select few, but whatever. Same as anyone else. I'm sure there's people that you know that don't like you. 99% of the people that have our food love it. We've only had one bad review, and that was because the food was cold, because we tried calling them for half an hour and they still didn't turn up for the food. Something that we can't help, we can't keep it warm forever. So, but again, we've actually learned from that in a way, because I bought a Cambro, and I keep the food in there, and I've also bought a different warming oven to take to events and stuff, because I don't want anyone's food going cold. But at the time, it was a case of we slice up, we put it on a tray, you get your food, and you come and get it. And they were half an hour away from that. So that was the only bad review we've had. But I don't care if people judge me, laugh at me behind my back. I'm trying to build a business here, and I'm sure that isn't the case. I'm just surmising. I'm just saying that if you've got people that you think will judge you for starting a business, they don't pay your bills. So you go for whatever you feel is going to make you happy. Choose the C-type goal, go for it. Actually do something that's going to make you scared and excited at the same time. Because doing things that you know how to do or you think you can do, there's no fuel there. There's nothing to really get you going for that. So if you're thinking of starting a barbecue business, I would absolutely do it, because it's really rewarding, but you need to follow certain steps. And that's why I'm going to go into the next video explaining in depth now of the things you need to actually do to start the business. So if you think after watching this, yeah, I would like to start a business, then go for it. But I hope this hasn't been too boring. I know this is going to be another long video, but I feel like there's certain things I've had to get across before I go into the details for you to actually get and have this as a very good foundation base point to learn from. So thanks for watching till the end. Please subscribe if you haven't already, like and comment. Please do comment below, because it does help me get more views. and it really does generally help me build this channel, because I'm trying to do this to help people, and I want people to see this video. So the more comments you put on, the more people will see it. So thanks so much for watching. Tune in for the next videos. Keep tuned, and also put the bell icon on for when I put a new video on, because then you'll be able to see when we do actually upload. I'm planning on bringing more videos. As time goes on, I probably will edit them a bit better. This is still terrible. I'm just doing a video on my iPad. But if it brings across the message that I want, then it's all good. So I'm Ashley, Big Smoke BBQ. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks.